Love of the Invisibles, How Ash Found Violet 12. Copyrighted 2015 by NazeliBook. A small house with a little garden was just below the hill that they were on. It's like a fairy tale house from storybooks. Violet was enjoying the view. Yes, it's beautiful. Before my father purchased the whole mountain, he owned the valley below with the house, and this is where he drew the blueprints for the big house at the Pine, Ash said. My aunt has a house in Fresno, California, but she liked to spend her summers here with my parents. I know it is a little far from the big house, but she likes to live close to the small creek that forms from the waterfall. She and my late uncle have spent many summers here, and after he was gone, she tried to come here as often as she could. My parents, on the other hand, like to spend their winters at their ranch at Fresno. The weather there in winter is almost what we have here in summer. As they went further downhill, they saw a tall man wave at them. That's my father, Ash thought. He's not like you. His complexion is more on the warmer side than cool, unlike your mother and your brothers, Violet couldn't help but notice. Yes, none of us look like Dad, Ash said, but Aunt Hermina is a mere copy of his. Once at the house, his father greeted them warmly and gave his son a big hug. So, you found her, he said. You know how long he was looking for you? 2 years, Violet answered. 2 years, Cedric reflected. Said? What is it? Violet heard a voice nearby. Come, Hermina, it is Ash and his wife, Cedric said towards the direction of the house. Violet, my child. They had their tea, and Violet really liked the currant jelly. I'll give you a jar or two, said Aunt Hermina. I made a lot. Melsik loves my currant jellies. When Ash and his father went to finish piling up the firewood in the nearby storage shed, Violet couldn't help but ask, How is it that you know me? Oh, my child, Armand, my late husband, is part Ref. He was related to you, you see. He was your father's cousin, Aunt Hermina said, trying to select her words carefully not to reveal more than she intended to. Then you're my aunt, Violet said, excited to find a relative at last. Yes, in a way, but we're not blood related, you know, she said with caution, and took her hands in hers. I saw you where you were born, she said. There was a great celebration. We were invited. We flew to your family's estate from Sacramento. Your parents, God bless their souls, were very happy to have a girl in the family at last after the 3 boys. You mean that I have male siblings? Oh, my dear, Aunt Hermina sighed. The first 2 sons did not live beyond their infancy. But Norik is well and lives at the estate near Great Lakes. My brother? Violet said. If I have a brother, then why wasn't he looking for me? Perhaps he didn't want you to be found, Aunt Hermina declared. What kind of brother would want that? Violet explained. A brother who loves you and wants what's best for you. Foster parents, being teased about my color changes, being confused of who I am and not able to belong anywhere. Is this a life he chose for me? Don't judge him so harsh, Aunt Hermina said kindly. Everyone has such expectations for you. Perhaps he wanted you to live a normal life instead of... What expectations, Aunt Hermina? Violet asked impatiently. To be a breathing machine, to create a perfect Ref that will serve Refi's ambitions, purposes? I know that. He united all our people and created the invisible net before the computers were created. A communication channel with electromagnetic field for the strongest leaders of invisibles to be in touch around the world, not talking about being the head of the council of people. My father could do all of that. Yes, so can you, Aunt Hermina said with pride. Do you know why you were kidnapped? Violet leaned closer to hear the rest. So the soldier in you would stay the same as your father's instead of being brainwashed and manipulated by your Uncle Refi, who became vicious of power and control and started using his gifts to gain power and fame with city people. He's already involved in politics and is working to be a candidate for a political power, or so I've heard. Think of what an invisible woman like you could do if you further developed the gene your father gave you. Your uncle has tarnished the good name of Ref, and the council of people does not trust him, or the community he represents. All of us in Northern America are part of that. You must put us with harmony with the invisibles of the rest of the world. Violet did not know what to make of it. She was an ordinary girl, capable of nothing but giving comfort to her clients, and now Aunt Hermina was saying that she was capable to lead and help her people in a way she could not understand. I know you're hesitant to admit that you have two different gifts, my dear, but Anahit's blood is in your veins from your father's side. That is where your strength comes from, and the healer is an extra bonus that was gifted to you by your ancestors. The invisible gifts develop better in girls and skip the male generation. That's why the boys were not so strong as you, but the Ref men are usually stronger than other men. I would have to admit. This Uncle Refi, he's my father's brother? Violet asked. Aunt Hermina nodded yes. I saw him in Los Angeles. He looked young, not like an uncle would be. With her request, Violet related Aunt Hermina all that happened in the parking lot of the post office. He's only 14 years older than you. He was your grandparents' last child. He was the youngest, so he was spoiled and strayed away from Ralph's principal. Yes, I know you want to know if you have other family. I believe there's another uncle who lives in Europe. He left after your parents were killed in a car accident. I'm sorry, love, she said gently. It was a long time ago. How are you two getting along? Ash walked in, holding some firewood with both hands. I will stack this in the fireplace so you don't have to go out alone at night, he said to his aunt. Oh, my boy, I believe your father would stay over for another night. He promised to fix a small part of the roof that was damaged by the wind last week, Aunt Hermina said. Well, here I go again, Ash said, heading to the door. You look pale, my dear. Did my aunt feed you too much jelly? He sent a private message to his wife. I feel good, don't worry, Violet replied with the same manner. She wanted him to leave so she can ask more questions to Aunt Hermina, since she was eager to talk. See, you're already rediscovering gifts of invisible people. What was that energy between you? You were silent talking, weren't you? Yes, I find it amazing, Violet said. I was frightened the first time it happened. She wanted to get back to Refi's plans and find out more, but from the bubbly look at Aunt Hermina's face, she guessed that the conversation had shifted from Refi to Ash. He's a good boy, Aunt Hermina said with admiration. You were just thinking about him, weren't you? Yes, it shows. You brighten up like a morning sunrise when you think of him. She touched her hand again. You two are a perfect match. You would have a harmonious life once you sort things out between yourselves. It's all new to me, this life, and the family. 1 minute you're alone, and another you're part of a family. It all happened so fast. Aunt Hermina, I wanted to ask you, continued Violet after a moment of silence. How could I tune into the communication frequency of Ash's family? Oh, that takes time. The longer you are in contact with them, the more you will pick up. What about Hunter? Violet was curious. He does not like to talk, Aunt Hermina said simply. He stutters. But he can talk? Violet said excited. I thought he was not able to. Oh, he's a great talker when he gets into your mind, Aunt Hermina said. Speech isn't all. If only he can find a girl who can read him well. I have done some searching. There is a great match, but who knows what will come out of it. With this, She got up and removed warm piroshkis from the oven. Violet looked at them with delight. They smell delicious. I know, my girl. You have to eat for two now. Violet gave her a surprised look. Oh, you thought you could keep it from me? And who else knows about the bun in the oven? Aunt Hermina asked playfully. What do you mean? There's no such thing. There couldn't be, Violet said, confused. Oh, but I could tell from your energy field. It is strong all around, but it is in use in much abundance in one part of your body, like it's building something or someone. Aunt Hermina came close and touched her stomach and was silent for a moment. Then she lit her eyes like two bright candlesticks. Twins! I'm sure of it. Oh, please, Aunt Hermina, don't tell anyone, Violet said, embarrassed. It might not be true. But it is, my dear. I'm sure of it, she said matter-of-factly. How could you be so sure? No one could tell it this soon, Violet protested. No one from city people, but a good healer like me can tell by examining your energy channels, she smiled. Don't worry. I would not tell anyone until you're ready, but I'm positive that Mel will sniff it out soon. Is she a healer like you? Yes, as good as I am. Did she hold your hands yet? Aunt Hermina asked. Violet nodded in a positive response. Then she knows, Aunt Hermina said. Oh dear, Violet exclaimed. Don't worry, she's a tactful lady. She will show you that she knows once you're ready to tell her, Aunt Hermina said. But do it soon, my dear. She must be bursting from excitement and dying to pamper you. Mel was not fortunate to have a girl, you know. You are her little girl now. Lucky lady. And you, Aunt Hermina? Do you have children? Violet asked. No, she sighed. My husband and I were not such a perfect match. Although life works in mysterious ways, all we had was our energy with negative and positive poles that attracted each other, and that was enough for us to live a simple, happy life. She touched Violet's cheek with motherly care. You and Ash, my dear, are another story. Is Ash the only perfect match for me? Violet asked innocently. There is one more match, Aunt Hermina said, raising her eyebrow. Why are you asking? Because I met him. Violet went to tell her what happened with Gumper, leaving small details out of the story. That dog, Aunt Hermina said, agitated. He is Refi's friend. He was a good-natured boy when he was little, and you two played together for hours at a time. There was such harmony between you, but your uncle made sure that he becomes what he is now, a tool for his ambitions. A match with him will create a powerful invisible child, and if it is a girl, and if she gets into your uncle's hands, then God help us. What is this all about, girls? Violet asked. You see, with invisibles, girls are harder to conceive than boys. That's why our numbers are few compared to city people. It's a matter of XX chromosomes for the fetus to be of girl sex, and through the centuries, more males were necessary to protect the existence of the rights of the invisibles. So somehow the natural evolution made sure more males were born, and now we have lack of females in our midst. Aunt Hermina explained. Oh, but in your case, since you have a strong gene and it can pass straight to the next generation, to a girl, she can multiply your hereditary gifts and would be a leader with myriad of abilities. To cut the explanation short, for Refi's case, she would be able to sense the city people's inclination to election choice. She would be able to project electromagnetic telepathic energy that would sway city people to vote for him, and the like. But with our society, there's a strict code of using our powers only for healing and doing good. Otherwise, it was said, it will doom our kind to extinction because bad deeds generate and attract negative energy fields that do not affect city people in a way they're magnified for invisibles. Can you imagine what it would do? Things are starting to make sense now, Violet said. But to a personal note, if we have a daughter, she will... She will use her gifts to help the invisibles, to develop new energy channels, to find new ways to heal. She will be a healer and an inventor. She can easily be elected to be a member of future council of people. Do you know that each member of the council lives hundreds and thousands miles away from each other, although they can telepathically communicate in seconds' time when necessary? That would be her. She could have the power. You can have that power too if you work on it. I know it was muted for so many years, but with proper training, it is still possible. Violet closed her eyes to digest all the information that she received from her husband's aunt. Only days ago, she would have thought her story to be part of a fiction book, but now, after the events of the last couple of days, she was realizing that this world that was unfolding around her was real. "Oh, my child, I have exhausted you with my talk," Aunt Hermina said, walking to the water machine to get some water for Violet. "I think this is more than enough for you today." Violet nodded. "I have so much to think about," she said. "Here, have a pillow, rest. I will cover you up," said Aunt Hermina. She reminded of a fairy godmother from the stories Violet read as a child. She drifted away to sleep in a warm, quiet room.